Most games start with an introductory segment that can make or break the first impression. These tutorial levels have one job: to gently introduce players to the core mechanics so they can get started quickly. Bad tutorials do the opposite, often frustrating players by dumping too much information at once, or simply dragging on. Today, we look at 3 games with tutorial segments that committed at least one of these sins, earning a reputation as some of the worst the gaming world has ever seen. Let's start with a fairly recent entry. As we look at Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, released for the Nintendo Switch in 2022. Right from the get-go, the game introduces players to thrilling concepts and gameplay mechanics, such as walking forward and looking around. Don't get us wrong, tutorial levels in Pokémon games always had a bit of a tendency to drag on for a while. The games are aimed at younger audiences after all. But the 2022 game's intro section takes this idea to the max, as it can easily take players well over an hour to complete. Even with the younger target audience in mind, we can't help but ask ourselves whether it was really necessary to make the game that foolproof. Because, let's be honest, what's the first thing everyone does when they first load into a new game? Yeah, press all the buttons to see what happens. And players typically figure out naturally how to traverse the world and look around. The section further reflects how Pokémon has gotten oversimplified a bit too much over the years. Remember in the older entries, when your rival used to choose the Pokémon that was the strongest against your starter? Yeah, that's no longer the case here. Not that it would have mattered much this early in the game, but it still plays it a bit too safe, even for a kid-friendly game. And we believe that all the oversimplification feels a bit insulting to the player base. This tutorial is overall just too easy, and sitting through all the mundane dialogue and unskippable cutscenes turns the entire segment into a pretty long, unenjoyable first impression. For kids, it's probably too slow to hold their attention, and grown-up players have chores to do and probably only have 40 minutes to play at a time. Like, come on Pokémon, don't hit us with a 2-hour prologue segment, just let us play the game. Gran Turismo 4, PlayStation 2. The Gran Turismo games are an iconic staple of the PlayStation ecosystem ever since the first entry. The games aim to deliver a realistic racing experience, with complicated physics calculations, authentic AI driver behavior, tournament rules, and photorealistic visuals, or at least as realistic as was possible at the time of release. Although not quite a full sim racer, Gran Turismo 4, the PlayStation 2 entry, was pretty deep for its time. The physics modeled tire grip, weight transfer, suspension, road surface differences, and bumps and potholes. The physics engine ensured that players felt differences between cars, tires, tuning options, and tracks. However, it seems that simulating driving physics wasn't enough for the devs, and they decided to take the realism to the next level by making players sit through driving license tests that were required to unlock parts of the main story. Although you didn't have to complete them all in one go, many of the over 11 million players who bought the game spent between 5 and 10 hours in this mode. Most lessons range from ridiculously easy, as in hold X to accelerate, to so infuriatingly difficult that we're sure that some controllers were broken in rage after the 50th failed attempt. Keep in mind that the tests were supposed to help new players get acquainted with realistic racing rules and techniques. Yet, some of the tests expected newcomers to deliver near-perfect driving just to get a passing grade. Overall, the game's 80 license tests are split across 5 categories, with each one featuring 16 individual tests. Each category ends with a longer test that serves as the final exam before players are awarded the license. Yikes. We think we'll steer clear of this mode whenever possible. Let's just hope the virtual teacher doesn't punish us with simulated detention for taking a shortcut through the grass, because we wouldn't want to spend a second more in Gran Turismo's digital driving school than is necessary to beat the game. Driver, PlayStation 1. Now, we can't talk about infamous tutorial levels without mentioning the original worst tutorial level ever to be seen by the gaming world. We are, of course, talking about the original Driver game released for PlayStation in 1999. The tutorial is notoriously difficult to complete, as it expects players to pull off a series of precise driving maneuvers in a small, dimly lit parking garage, all while a 1-minute timer relentlessly ticks down. In total, players must successfully perform 9 maneuvers to finish the tutorial, and the game won't let them continue to the main story without beating the garage level. And if all of that wasn't enough, the game assigns you the worst possible passenger, who constantly keeps complaining about every little thing you do. Oh, and before we forget to mention it, crashing the car can also lead you to failing the mission. In all fairness, the level is technically not the game's tutorial, as the devs included a video that demonstrates how to beat the level. However, many players missed it when they first got the game, and they naturally wanted to just get started with the main story before their hope of a fun gaming session was shattered by the brutal intro level that requires near-perfect gameplay from the get-go. Well, I guess at least the garage level was effective at keeping kids from playing the more mature-themed story, as there's no way that anyone under the age of 30 with less than 10 years of driving experience managed to get through it. All I know is that each time I pull into a multi-story car park, a cold shiver runs down my spine, and Driver is probably to blame. These were 3 games with tutorial levels that pushed our buttons. Do you agree with our picks, or did you secretly love one of the levels on the list? Let us know in the comments below which tutorial sections drove you absolutely crazy. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.